Hello everybody, good morning. Good morning if you're watching this in the morning, like I am making this in the morning. So, today we are doing, we're going to continue a little bit with talking about food and drink. You don't need the book right now. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to deal with large groups. Well, the section is called Catering for large groups, like how to handle a large party, a large group of people. If you have a restaurant or you work in a restaurant, you are in charge of a venue that deals with large groups. Let me ask you some questions to begin with, okay? So here are the questions. You have to agree, that's A, or disagree with the statements here. So the first one is, I'm reading, generally, as a guest, I prefer a sit-down meal to a buffet, because then I don't have to walk around carrying food. So I prefer a sit-down meal. That's a meal, for example, a dinner, where people sit down, where I sit down, as opposed to a buffet, where you go and get the food yourself. For example, at the hotel on Tenerife, where we were last month, or 2 weeks ago. So, the question is, do you feel the same way? Do you have the same preference? Then A, agree. You should really write down your answers. You should write down one, A if you agree, or D if you prefer a buffet. Number 2, a sit-down meal is better if you're catering for a very large group, because then you don't have people standing all over the place. All right? Now, this is from the point of view of the restaurant owner. Number 1 was from the point of view of a guest. Now it's different, okay? So now you have the restaurant. A sit-down meal is better because everybody is sitting down and people are not walking around and making it difficult for the servers to walk around. Okay, do you agree? Then A, all right? Number 3, I would serve only the best quality, no cheap stuff. Remember, stuff means things, indefinite things, all right? So would you serve the best quality only? Number 4, it is not a good idea to let the people watch the cooks at work, because they get nervous, the cooks get nervous, and they don't work properly. Do you agree with this? Not a good idea to permitir que la gente mire the cooks at work, because they get nervous. Okay? Do you agree? A or D? Let's continue. Okay, 3 more questions. 5, all the food should be prepared in advance. Do you agree with this? Should be prepared in advance, por adelantado, con antelación. All the food. 6, men and women eat the same amount and type of food, la misma cantidad and type of food. There is no difference. Do you agree with the statement, or do you think it's false? And number 7, you shouldn't use any disposable products. It's bad for the environment. You shouldn't use, no deberías usar any disposable product. Disposable, this in Spanish is desechables. To dispose of something is to get rid of something, es deshacerse de algo, desechar algo, okay? So it's bad for the environment. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, so when you have answered these questions, then what you need to do is you need to look at your book at page 54, where there is there's an article here on page 54 where the writer gives the answer, well, gives his opinion about all these questions that I asked you. Okay, so you will have to read the article and decide if the author has the same opinion as you or different, except questions 1 and 4. Just a minute. Question 1, that's your opinion, and number 4 is also an opinion. So you don't need to, you won't find the answers there, okay? Now you should press pause and read the article, then do this exercise that I just explained, and then press resume, continuar, again, and we'll go through a few vocabulary items. Alright, so press pause now, like this. Okay, so now you've read the article here, and you have your answers to all the questions except 1 and 4. I just want to point out some words here. Some of the key vocabulary is in bold, in negrita, and you will need these words in bold to do exercise 4, which is a vocabulary exercise. Exercise 4 on page 55. But before we carry on, just a couple of things. What do you call the person who has something? For example, if I have a restaurant, then I am the what's the word? Okay, I am the of the restaurant. So let's make things clearer. How do you say propietario in English? It's here in the article. Can you find it? 5 letters starting with an O. Okay, it's the owner. So the owner of a restaurant. You are, I'm sure, the owner maybe not of a restaurant, but you're the owner of a car or a bicycle or a pen. Right, the other thing is I wanted to point out is para qué. How do you say para qué? For example, hago esto para que podáis aprender. O abro la ventana para que entre el aire. How do you say this para que in English? Alright, think about it. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. I'll give you a little clue. Para que is the same as de modo que. Okay, that in English would be so that, and we have it in line 7. So that, de manera que, de modo que, para que, line 7, okay? I will read the sentence. This is lines 6 and 7. They set long tables with hors d'oeuvre so that the 3,000 employees could serve themselves when they arrived. Okay, so let's translate this sentence. Montaban o montaron. Actually, I think it's montaron here. montaron mesas largas con entremeses. Hors d'oeuvre, this is a French word, and literally it means fuera de la obra culinaria, la comida preparada, fuera de la obra, entremeses. So, I start again. Montaron mesas largas con entremeses de manera que, o para que, los 3.000 empleados pudieran servirse cuando llegaran, okay? So that is one of those phrases, or one of those connectors, one of those words that you read and you understand immediately, you don't even notice it, but then when you have to speak and you want to say it, it's often difficult to think of it, okay? So that, de manera que, para que. And the other one that I wanted to point out, another expression here, is this. When you're talking about different aspects of the same thing, you use, for example, about. Okay, you're talking about, let's say you're talking about a country, about France, for example. You're talking about France and you're saying, right, France is a big country. The people are friendly or unfriendly, etc. And then you say, about the food, we can say that blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this about the food at the beginning of the sentence, which in Spanish would be en cuanto a la comida, we must say, hay que decir que blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this normally in English you use about, you, but it's not very good style. We have a much better option, much more elegant, which is as for, and this is 5 lines from the end. It says, as for the drink service, the tables are designed so that there is blah blah blah, okay? So, en cuanto al servicio de bebidas, you could say about here and we would understand it, but it's not very good style. So, my advice is, don't start a sentence with about. Don't start a sentence with about, use as for, en cuanto a, okay? In the same sentence, notice that we have another example of so that, okay? En cuanto al servicio de bebidas, las mesas están diseñadas de manera que haya, para que haya, okay? Right, so that was it. And you will see that exercise 4, as I said, is vocabulary. And now I think we have a listening here, okay? Just a minute. Okay, so we have a listening now, and here we have the questions. Let me tell you about what you are going to hear. First of all, this is a conversation between a man phoning to book an event. This is a conversation between this man booking an event and an event organizer called Sandra Kellerman. Sandra makes some notes as she listens, as she has the conversation, and this is what you need to write. So, date of the event. When is the event happening? Martin, by the way, is from P&K Sports. That's the name of his company, but you don't need this for the exercise, okay? So Martin from P&K Sports calls the event organizer, Sandra Kellerman. Right, so you will need to answer for this. When is the date of the event? How many guests are expected? Number of guests expected. ¿Cuántos se esperan? ¿Cuántos huéspedes, clientes? Okay. Type of event. What kind of event is it they are talking about? And then the venue. Venue, this is the place where something happens. For example, when we have, when there is a concert, the venue may be, for example, I don't know, the Recinto Ferial, the exhibition hall, or it can be Can Ventosa, or whatever, venue. This will be Marlies, whatever, okay? I'm going to play the recording now. It's about 3 minutes, and when you finish, remember that you can listen to it again. The quality is not fantastic, but you have your CD, okay? And you can listen to it at home as many times as you like. So let's listen to it. I'll leave you with the screen here so you can see the questions. I'm never very sure what to do, what to show you when we're doing the listening. Anyway, let's try this. Here are the questions.
Hello, Sandra Kellerman speaking.
Hi Sandra, it's Henry Martins from P&K Sports here.
Henry, good to hear from you.
Listen, we're organising a big marketing event next month on the 25th of June. We're expecting a lot of people and we need some food, a buffet. Can you do the catering?
The 25th? Yeah, sure. Just give me some details. How many guests are you expecting?
We're not sure yet. We sent out 1,500 invitations and there are about 300 employees here.
So that's around 1,800. I know it's impossible to get an exact number, but can you confirm the guest numbers a week before, say on the 17th?
Okay. How much will it cost? Can you give me an estimate?
Well, it depends on what kind of buffet you want. Is it breakfast, lunchtime or dinner? Is it formal or informal?
It's an evening event, but the plan is to be very casual and relaxed.
I see. Would you like some menu options? Then you can see the price per head and make your selection.
Yes, great. You have my email, don't you?
Yeah, I'll send them to you today. What's the location for the event?
We've hired Marley's Golf Club.
Good. I know the place. There's a lot of space there. I'll need to visit the club to see how we can organise the buffet stations. Will they do the drinks?
Yes, that's right. Sorry, forgot to mention that.
So you don't need any beverages?
No. I mean, yes. We'd like some tea and coffee. You know, some hot beverages.
Okay. And how much time do we have to prepare the buffet and clean up after?
Good question. Listen, I have an idea. Let's visit the golf club together and we can discuss it with the club manager.
Good idea. Let's see. I'm available on Friday.
Okay, so that was it. I won't give you the answers. You can listen to it again. And there is also another exercise, exercise 7, and that will be for the study guide. You need to complete the conversation. I'm now going to ask you a few questions about the vocabulary, okay? Let's see. First question. Just a minute, let me get some paper here. Remember that you have the script. It's on page 123 and you can read the conversation and study how they say things and the vocabulary. I have a few questions to ask you about what we heard. The first question is, what would be the opposite of a formal event? So you go and there's a formal dinner or a formal event. What's the opposite of formal? I'm sure that a lot of you will be thinking informal, and that is correct. But what is the word used in the conversation? The word used starts with an I. It starts with a C, I mean. Okay? It's a C. Any guesses? A casual. A casual event. You can wear casual clothes, it's a casual event. Now, esperamos, for example, 100 personas. Esperamos 100 personas, 80 or whatever. How do you say esperamos? That's we, okay? We there's an X here, okay? We expect. We expect, for example, we expect 150 people. By the way, PAX, this is often used as an abbreviation for people, but in fact, the original meaning was passengers. Okay, for airlines and ships, but people often write this for people, so we expect. Remember that there are other words to say esperar in English. One is expect, that's for possibility. The other, esperar for time, for example, esperar el autobús, that was waiting for the bus. Remember the preposition, waiting for somebody, waiting for the bus, waiting for the time to arrive. So we have wait, we have expect, and we also have esperar de esperanza, espero que estés bien. That's I hope. So we have hope, expect, and wait. And there are more, but these will do for the moment. Now, el precio por persona, how do you say this? That's the price per person, or the price per head, as they say in the conversation. Per, okay? Per. This is a Latin preposition, but is used in English to talk about, for example, price per head, etc. Okay? What else? What is a synonym for drinks that they use in the conversation? It starts with a B. It's beverages, okay, or beverage, okay? Beverage, or beverages plural. In the conversation, the man says, I'll translate, okay? He says, no, he says no, and then, quiero decir sí. Okay, so how to say quiero decir? This is at the end of the conversation, okay? Can you remember? He actually says, no, and then, I mean, yes, I mean, quiero decir, okay? So, this is very common in English. You don't say, I want to say, no, I mean, okay? I mean, yes, or I mean, whatever. A very common expression. And finally, they agree, at the end of the conversation, they agree to meet and discuss the plan. Discuss, in Spanish, discutir, but be careful, because in Spanish, discutir has two meanings. One meaning refers to a friendly discussion. Discutimos un plan, discutimos la organización de un evento, etc. This is friendly and constructive. But then in Spanish we have another discutir, like For example, you say, siempre están discutiendo. No se llevan bien, talking about a couple. Siempre están discutiendo. In English, this wouldn't be discussing. This would be, can you think? They are always arguing, okay? But anyway, here, they're going to meet there at the place, at the venue, to discuss the plan, all right? So, I think now I'm going to show you something on the screen, because I want to discuss a little bit of key vocabulary to deal with food and drinks and all this. No, but actually, now I think of it, there's something else. In the study guide, you will see an activity which we normally do in class, and obviously we can't do it now. It's like this. We have to imagine that the school of tourism, it wants to celebrate its anniversary. I think it's the 53rd anniversary. And so we imagine a situation where the school want to organize an event somewhere, okay? A dinner, actually. A dinner to celebrate its anniversary. And what we did in class was we sat in pairs and we discussed a number of things. For example, it's here. I prefer the flip, this is the flip board. I prefer the flip board because the projector makes a lot of noise, and this is somehow, it's like warmer. So, what you need to do actually is you need to decide on a date and time. The best date, for example, we are now in March, maybe May, June, July. Imagine that the circumstances are normal, not what we have right now with the coronavirus and the state of emergency and all this. Okay, imagine it's normal. So you have to think of a date and a time for the dinner. You have to think of a venue, the best venue to do this on the island of Ibiza, obviously. Okay? Number of guests, an estimate. Okay, an estimate. Number of guests. You have to think of all the students that will go there, and the teachers, and maybe partners. Okay. Remember that you are in charge of organizing the event or making a proposal for the event. Menu. What are you going to propose? What will people eat? The first course, the main course, dessert, the drinks, maybe an appetizer before the actual meal, maybe some nuts. I don't know, you have to discuss this. Entertainment. What entertainment will you provide? Will you provide a music band? Will you provide games, a magician, whatever? You decide that. And then price per head, okay? Now, normally we did this in class, and we did it like all together afterwards. But now it's different. However, I had an idea when I was planning this. I think it would be a very good idea if you could telephone a classmate and have this conversation. Why not? Because the idea is to practice, and if you can't do it face to face like in the classroom, maybe you can call them. Your English will not be 100% correct, but it's very important to practice, okay? So why don't you do this? Call a friend and decide on all these questions. You can, when you submit the study